Hey there, welcome to another episode of Cooking with Violet Vixen. Today, probably I'm going to pronounce this wrong, we are cooking provencal chicken with mushrooms. Here's what we need, plus there's more on the back. It serves four, so come on in and I'll show you what we need. So this one is delayed. I was supposed to start this a couple of days ago, and then I tossed up whether to actually come home from work and put it in the slow cooker overnight, which technically would have meant that I would have done it earlier. Was too tired and had to get up early to go to work the next day. So I decided against that. So I'm going to do it the way that it is supposed to be cooked, and it's just a little bit delayed. But anyway, now that you know that, that's all good. You will need a large saucepan. I was going to use this one, but the chicken's been defrosting in that for a few days. It should still be fine. You will also need 1.3 kilos of chicken drumsticks. It did say to use chicken pieces, but normally when I get recipes like this, I just feel like it's easier to just go with chicken drumsticks, because by the time you ask for chicken pieces, you don't know what you're going to get. You also need 30 grams of butter, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 red onions cut into quarters, 4 garlic cloves skin on. There's 3 there, but they're large. 2 dried bay leaves, 12 sprigs of thyme, 400-gram can of diced tomatoes. I haven't yet opened them, but they're easy enough to open. Excuse me. 2 cups of chicken stock, 1 cup of white wine, 700 grams of baby colaban potatoes. They are sleeping in here. There they are. 200 grams of Swiss brown mushrooms, 2 stalks of celery chopped. These have been in the freezer. Well, they've been out for a few days as well, but they're still good. I've just cut them up. 2 teaspoons of white sugar, and a 400-gram can of cannelli beans, drained and rinsed. I haven't drained and rinsed them yet, but there they are. So also, see this? A little sneaky salt and pepper. We need salt and pepper as well. This recipe didn't tell me that until I actually read through. So now that you know what we're doing, first up we're going to season the chicken pieces with salt and pepper. And we're going to heat the butter and oil in our saucepan and start just browning these off. So let's get into it. I just gave them a little bit of a swim in their swimming pool there. Being out of the freezer for a couple of days and being chicken, you've really got to be careful with it. So just give it a bit of a wash if you're not using it the first day, but it never hurts to wash chicken, so don't be scared to do so. All right, crack your pepper over the top. I probably could use this saucepan now that I've done this, but it's going to just create more washing up for me. All good. Okay, let's go and get frying. Okay, so the one over the back there, I've just sprayed it. I'm using unsalted butter because I had to open up unsalted butter, and I'd rather use that up than start on salted butter. And we also are going to pop 2 tablespoons of olive oil in with this as well. So this is a good dish that if you've got a lot of time on your hands but you don't really, meaning when I say a lot of time on your hands, you're not cooking it to eat now. It is actually a good one to adapt over to the slow cooker. And the reason why I'm saying it is a good one to adapt over is because there's plenty of liquid in it. And when you use a slow cooker, this recipe is supposed to take about half an hour to cook. But in a slow cooker, If you was to do it on high, it would be 4 hours, and on low is normally about 8 hours. So the beauty of that is you can literally put it in your slow cooker and leave it overnight. So that's another way. And if you are going to use the slow cooker, then quite simply, I don't normally always brown off the meat, but probably with chicken, I would say it's a good idea too, just so that you know that you've sort of started to cook it and you've sealed it. But it's up to you. You can just chuck everything straight into the slow cooker. So if you're following along, this would not be a big saucepan. It would be a slow cooker pot. So, and now slow cookers are getting a lot more economical. You can get smaller ones, you can get bigger ones, and the best one that I've seen on the market actually has a time clock on it, because there was one stage where I used to put things on in the slow cooker and go out for the day and then come home and it was all ready. But in order to do that, in case you got delayed, I mean, you don't know. When you go out and you go out for a drive, you don't know how long you're going to be out for. It's a good idea to put it on a time clock. So the invention of a slow cooker with a time clock was definitely a good idea. So now that you know, so they're in there, they're having a little bit of a sauna in here. Once they're done, we're going to lift them out and pop them onto a plate, and then we're going to keep going with the rest of it. Okay, so when they look like this, even though they're not cooked, lift them out onto a separate plate. And then we'll get ready to put the next thing in. Yeah, the plan here is to not cook them, it's just to seal them. Alright, beautiful, look at them. Okay, now set those just over there. Okay, next up, keep it sizzling. In goes your garlic. In goes your onion. Your 2 bay leaves. And your thyme, which you're keeping on the sprigs. So a sprig is obviously call it a branch. Very small branch, but they're still a branch. All right. So once you got all that in, we're going to cook for 5 minutes or until soft, and then we're going to put the chicken back in. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit because I don't want to fry off all the oil. And don't worry if things start to stick because there is liquid going in here. Oh, it's smelling good already with just the garlic and the onion and that thyme there. Beautiful. Alright, so a few more minutes and then we'll be back to give the chicken its second bath. So when your onion's soft, pop the chicken back in. There's 2 ways to do it. Dump it in or place it in. I'll place it in. Okay, we're all back in. And just put any drippings or anything, because that's actually butter there. Okay, so once your chicken's in, next up you want to add your tomatoes. So the way I do the tomatoes is I tip them in. Now, you can wash your tin out by deglazing it, and the best way to do that is by using the wine and the stock. Go like this. In it goes. Do it again. Just wash your tin out. There we go. Beautiful. It's clean. Look at that. And you just got a few extra little smackaroos of tomato. In goes our wine. Bring it up to the boil, and then we're going to pop the potatoes in. So now is a good time to turn it back up because you've just put a lot of liquid in there. Now look at that. You see that in there? Beautiful. Can't really stir it because it's pretty full here. This is why a slow cooker would probably come in handy. And my slow cooker, you may have seen it on one of the episodes. I can't recall when the last time was I used it, but because mine's an oblong, it's really good for doing things like this because you can actually top and tail them. Or if you've got, which I do have, an electric frying pan, you can do it in that as well because you can put a lid on that. But this is fine because they're actually pretty close to all being under cover, and they are going to cook once it starts bubbling. So bring it to the boil, and then in go the potatoes. Okay, so when we start to come up to the boil, grab your potatoes and place them over the top. Just make sure they got no toes on them. I call them toes. They're probably called eyes, but in my mind they're toes. Once you've got your potatoes in, we're going to turn it down, pop a lid on and simmer it for half an hour. So that's the good thing about this big saucepan that I've got here, or stock pot. It's nice and tall, and once I get the lid on, it'll be good. So the potatoes are actually going to steam because they're not under, I was going to say under cover or under water. So they'll get the benefit of steaming, which is good because there is ways to, obviously, if you cook boiled potatoes, that's how they cook. They steam. All right, I'll see you in half an hour. So I've just grabbed a knife and stabbed a few potatoes. They're not done yet. So that's 30 minutes gone. So I'm going to pop the timer on for another 10 minutes and increase the temperature from 3 to 4. So 3 is about medium. So we're going to increase the temperature and I'll see you in 10. Okay, so we're really bubbling now. Potatoes are done. But we want to see what's going on down below with our chicken. So grab a chicken and just cut it. And if it's all white right through, then it means it's done. Because it's poaching, it's going to look different when it's cooked. But you can sort of see it starting to come off the bone as well. So that's a bonus. Okay, in goes the chopped celery. In goes your sugar. In goes the mushrooms. Definitely just as well I've got the big saucepan going on here. And our final ingredient is our cannelli beans, which I have opened and rinsed. When you rinse them, you'll see a foamy liquid coming off them. That's probably just what they put them in to keep them going. All right, pop your timer on for another 5 minutes. You basically want to make sure everything's hot. and then you're good to serve up. So I'll see you in 5. Okay, so that looks done. So thank you for watching this episode of Cooking with Violet Vixen. This has been provencal chicken with mushrooms. Enjoy, and I'll catch you on the next adventure. Bye.